Hey there, this is Casey from Bookafy. We're all working from home and doing a lot of conference calling, and I thought in the spirit of being a resource to all of our friends and customers, we'd take a minute just to guide you through the options as it relates to connecting to a conference calling software to do online meetings, and how it could integrate with an appointment scheduling software like we have here at Bookafy. So we'll share some of the ways you can customize your account in Bookafy to make it work for your specific use case, and we'll share some of our favorite software programs. And lastly, we'll share how combining appointment booking and online meetings will save you just a ton of time in the long run. So, and yes, we'll show you how to do it all for free. So our software has a free option. Most of the options we've shared in our blog posts also have free options. So that's it for now. So first, I'll just tell you, in our office, we use Zoom. So there's a bunch of different reasons for that. One is that we have a great integration with Zoom. It allows each user in our account to automatically fetch a unique URL with each appointment that's booked. So this is the software that we use internally. There's other options though, if you're particularly if you're an individual at a company, or you are a solo entrepreneur. So say you might be a salesperson with a big organization, you're just trying to automate things for yourself, or you're just a one-man show trying to book meetings. Maybe you're a coach or a consultant or personal trainer or something. You want to just book meetings. One of my favorite tools is actually Uber Conference. So this is a tool that I've used for years and years, and it works super great. I think some of the differences, and in our blog post we'll share a lot of details about some of the other programs we've tested as well. But if you look at Uber Conference compared to Zoom, we'll just kind of focus on these two at the moment. What I really like is that, actually, to tell you what I don't like about Zoom, I guess, is that every time you're working with a customer that isn't used to using Zoom or hasn't used Zoom in the past, what inevitably happens is the meeting starts 5 to 10 minutes late while the person's trying to figure out how to connect Zoom and add the app and all that stuff. So for a first-time user of Zoom, what happens is you have to connect, you have to download a Chrome extension or an app on your phone or something, and it just takes time, and a lot of people are just leery about doing that. They don't want another app on their phone, and they don't want to download some new program on the computer. So they tend to just be hesitant about it. So it's not unusual for us at all if we're dealing with customers that aren't used to or haven't been through the experience before, which is a lot. They are just really reluctant, and inevitably our calls get postponed, or they'll be late, or we'll get an email saying, hey, can you just call me, or they'll just take a long time to kind of get it set up. So there's a lot of good things about Zoom. It's super reliable. It's great for big teams. Again, we use it for our team, but it can be a bit of a challenge. So if you compare that with Uber Conference, so with the Uber Conference, every account gets its, and this is similar to Zoom, but you get your unique ID. So my room is Casey Sullivan Seattle. And so when I share this link, the customers it opens in the browser, so there's nothing to install. It just opens. So you can choose to have video or microphone on or off, similar to Zoom. But again, it's cool because it just works, and you don't have to, and it's right inside of a Chrome browser. There's no extensions to install, no software to install, no apps, nothing. Just all you need is Chrome or Safari or whatever you're using, and boom, you're in the meeting. And and the video comes up just as it would. I'm hiding my video at the moment because I'm wearing a t-shirt and a hat. So, but how it would normally work is you'd have a nice view here of the different people in the meeting. So here's a view, just a normal screenshot of what your screen would look like if you had, say, 6 people. So you have an organizer plus different people. A couple of people have chosen to have pictures or their video playing, and 3 have not. The other thing that's really cool is that they play this fun background music. So I like it a lot. But you can see the UI is just super smooth and easy to work with. And the layout is great. I mean, it works pretty similar to the other products, but we like it a lot. So Okay, so now I'll show you how to connect to Zoom specifically. So as an individual user, whether you're have a single user account or you're a user in an account with many users, you would go to your user settings and click on Zoom. And here you can see I'm already connected, but if I was not connected, I would say there's a little button here that says authorize, and then you'll just follow through with the steps to connect to Zoom. It's super simple. Now, once this is done, you'll go over to the appointment types settings here on the left side, and you'll click on appointment type. We'll click on the Zoom call. So once you click on that, you'll see it pop up and you'll scroll down. And if I wanted to enable Zoom for this specific appointment type, I click on enable Zoom. And now what happens is anytime this specific appointment type is made, it will go and collect my unique Zoom URL for that specific meeting. So if I am, say, one of 50 users in an account, and say you have, this is a demo account, so we have one user here. But if I had many users and somebody booked a Zoom call or a support call, whatever you want to call it, once that's booked, then it would go fetch the unique URL from the specific user's Zoom account, and it would attach that link to all of the correspondence that we have with the customer. So I'll click enable here and then click update. And now once it's enabled, you'll see there's a little Zoom link here. And if I click on the specific links, I'll walk you through how this appears in the actual appointment. Okay, now we're in the Zoom appointment type link, and I'll click on book a call for today. Here's my information. I'll say confirm appointment. So if I'm adding to the calendar, we'll just say add to Google Calendar. And you can see if I scroll down, it's going to include the unique URL for that specific Zoom meeting. So this is the rescheduling link, and this is the link for the actual Zoom meeting. So this will be saved in the customer's calendar, and they'll also receive it via email. So I'll show you that as well. So here is the email that I just got to my my personal account, and you can see there's a unique URL for that specific appointment type. So this information is going to be included in my appointment confirmation, as well as my appointment reminders that I'll receive automatically through Bookafy. So if you want to use Zoom and you want to use our Zoom integration, that's how you would set that up. And you can do the same thing with GoToMeeting. But I'll show you one other way to do it as well. Say you don't have a paid Zoom account, or you just want to use a totally different account or a different web conferencing software. One hack that we've created is you can actually, in the location tab, you can add text to include we've added the URL to the location. I'll show you how that will function as well. So we'll book a 2:45 call, same email address, same information, add to calendar, Google Calendar. And you'll see now, instead of having unique URL, it's just including my room ID inside of this link, or inside of this text in the where column. So this will be included also in all of the confirmation emails and the downloads and the everything that's included in all the correspondence. Here we're inside of Gmail now, and you can see it's also including it in my Gmail link. So again, this will be included in any reminder messages that I get as well. So in a lot of ways, this functions very similar to the way the Zoom integration works, except for the difference is that you would just use one unique URL. The downside to this is if you had many staff and you had multiple appointments being booked for Zoom calls at the same time, then obviously you can't have multiple people in the same Zoom conference, or there would just you would be talking over each other, and that doesn't work. So if you have multiple people taking calls at the same time, then you have to go with a unique URL option, and I can show you ways to hack that a little bit. But if you are a solo entrepreneur, or an individual account holder, with just maybe you're a salesperson at a bigger company, you can use, and it's just a single person in the account, you can definitely use this method, and it doesn't have to be a Zoom. You can use any ID. So you could here I'll go back. So instead of using this Zoom link, I could say we're going to do for your web call, use this link. And then I can use my Uber conference link, or I could use my GoToMeeting link, or my Google Hangout, or my Skype for Business, or whatever room you already have. You can use this in that way, so it works really well. So if you are a company with multiple users, the way that you would work around that is the way that you would work around this hack is you'd create different appointment types for different users. So this one could be Zoom call with Casey. And then in this Zoom call, we would use a specific link. And then if I created a new appointment ID and I said Zoom call with Jason, then we would use a new link. So what would happen is anytime somebody books a Zoom call with Jason, they'd use his link. Anytime they booked a call with me, they would use my link. And you could theoretically do this quite often. The downside is, again, if you had limited appointment types, like you can see we just have a few appointment types. So for our account, we would much rather use the unique URL so that nobody gets mixed up. But if you wanted to share, if you wanted to do it the other way, you would just kind of change your settings a little bit to reflect that. So maybe in your main account, you would have just one way to book, and that would be one ID. And then, in the individual staff links that they share in their email and such, they would use just their own appointment types, and that would work as well. So, and again, so if I had a second appointment type and we said Zoom call with Jason, and we use his location ID, then what happens is now when he's sharing his unique ID, he could share this, like in his email signature or whatever, he would share this specific link. And so no one is going to book, attempt to book a call with me, Casey, to get with Jason's link, because it's only assigned to him and it can't book me. So there's no way for two people to be on the call at the same time. But if you're booking it, if you have multiple staff, then of course on the regular Zoom call, then that would become a problem because multiple people could book it at the same time. So I hope that makes sense. So we just posted this video and we'll share this on our blog as well. We walked through a few of our 8 favorite video conferencing apps. So the first one's Uber Conference, which I shared with you. Google Hangouts is another one that works great. I mean, almost everyone has a Google account of some sort, and this would be a great option. We don't have a direct integration with Google Hangouts, but this would be a great option to just use your Google Hangout URL inside of your appointment type location so that it's shared in that way. It works really fantastic. Skype is the same thing. We don't have a direct connection with Skype, but you can use your room ID and it works really well. Zoom, as I mentioned, we have an integration with them, so you can pull unique URLs for each appointment type. GoToMeeting is the same. We have a direct integration with them, and you can pull a unique URL for each appointment type as well. Cyberlink is another one we like. We tested this quite a bit, and it's a cool plan. It's a little more expensive than some. I mean, your pro plan is starts at $30, but you can have. I mean, it's a nice service. I mean, it's actually pretty similar to Uber Conference, maybe a step up from the technology. But when I've used Uber Conference, it's been free, so that's been pretty nice. And I don't think they have. Their free plan is a little bit more limited, like 30 minutes per meeting. Whereas Uber Conference, they don't have as short of a limit on the meeting, and you can also do 50 participants versus 25. So I don't know, it's a cool software though. Blue Jeans is really cool as well. It's a little more functional, I would say, but they do not have a free option. So, but it's a very, very cool tool. And Lifesize is cool. Lifesize is actually nice because they have, it's really more built for conference calls, like with internal staff, where you set up a video, like a camera for a conference room that's tracking people and doing that stuff. So it's actually a very cool software. So that is it. Okay, and the last thing we want to do is just walk you through the customer journey and kind of talk you through how using a software like ours here at Bookafy will help drastically reduce the amount of time it takes for you to book an appointment. So there's two scenarios. One in which you can see here that you're using Bookafy, another that you're doing this manually, the good old-fashioned way. So if we look at the manual option first, what typically happens is a staff member will email a customer and say, what time works for you? The customer responds, how about 1 o'clock or 3 o'clock? The staff member says, sure, that sounds fine. So they book the 3 o'clock time. So in this case, so far, the staff has been involved with 1 email, 2 email, 3 email. And then the staff will then go ahead and manually enter the appointment into their calendar. They'll also at that time log into Zoom or some other product, create a unique URL for the appointment type. They'll add it to the calendar invite, and then they'll go ahead and send that calendar invite to the customer. So again, staff is going into their Google Calendar, to their Outlook calendar to create the appointment. They're going into Zoom to create the appointment. That's another thing they're doing. They're pasting it into a confirmation email that's sent to the customer, and the the staff will also typically send a reminder email saying, "Hey, just want to remind you that we're meeting tomorrow at whatever time," and we'll usually also include that same link. So quite a bit of effort, and then the meeting takes place. So you can see in this case, the staff member is involved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different times. And this is like best case scenario. So it's not unusual for this process right here of trying to find a time. This could easily go back and forth like 6 times or 8 times or something. So where, maybe 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock doesn't work, and the staff says, how about 4 o'clock? And they say that doesn't work. And they say, how about next week? And it goes back and forth several times. So this number of times is probably the bare minimum. It could be quite a bit more. So now, in contrast, if you use a software appointment scheduling system like ours, I'll show you how it's different. So first, you would send a link to a customer. So it could look something like this, where you're just sending a link and they're landing on your booking page. It could look like this, where you just have a button built into your website where they're clicking and again, just booking the appointment. It could also look something like this, where you're creating an email and saying, hey, let's chat, grab a time in the link below, and they're using your link here to book a time. It could also look something like this, where you're just copying the slots from your times that you picked for the one-off appointments. In either of those cases, ultimately the customer will get a chance to book an appointment. They're going to enter their name and their email and their phone number. So the staff is going to be involved one time by either adding it to a website or sharing it in an email. I suppose if it's on a website, they wouldn't be really involved at all. This is how about 90% of our appointments come through, is on our website, where we're not involved in this step at all. But either case, at most, they'd be involved in this step. The customer would book the appointment. Our software would automatically go fetch the unique URL from GoToMeeting or Zoom or any of the other programs. We'd automatically send a confirmation email with all the details involved. We'd automatically send text reminders and email reminders. We can optionally send a second text reminder and second email reminder. It would automatically sync to the staff's calendar, so they're doing 0 data entry. And so the idea is, between the time the appointment's booked and the time the appointment takes place, the customer doesn't have to do anything, and the staff has 0 things to do. So all the staff has to do is actually just log into the meeting at the time it's booked. So here at Bookafy, how this works for us is when an appointment is started. So say it starts at 2 p.m., we would get a reminder on our Outlook, and we just click, boom, we're in, and that's all that has to happen. So I don't have any process. I don't have to go into Zoom or GoToMeeting or whatever and get a URL. I don't have to enter anything into my calendar. I don't have to send any confirmation emails or reminders. I do 0 things before the appointment actually starts. So My tasks start when the appointment starts at at the respective time. So you can tell best case scenario you have 5 inputs that the staff member is going to be responsible for. Here, in our case, usually it's 1 input, so we're just doing one thing, which is showing up to the meeting. At most, you could have 2 inputs where you're sending a link to the customer. But either way, it's a significant difference, and it allows the staff to focus on revenue generating or efficient use of their time as opposed to doing all this busy work. So yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions and you want to reach out, feel free to do so. Thanks so much.